What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Bye Bye Earth, Season 2, Episodes 9 and 10. So, in these episodes, the Bell's younger self, which is revealed to be like an incarnation of like this AI that's like basically serves as God. So basically, the gods, basically they left the planet, and it's heavily implied basically humanity. Humanity left Earth, basically is what's implied. Bell's left behind on the moon, and she like basically, there's this abandoned amusement park with machines, and she basically played in the amusement park and she wasn't real companions. So and the machines like they couldn't be true companions to her. So basically, she was put in suspended animation. Then this AI like that was running amusement park tried to create life, and over the eons, so it's really all like the beast people like being they're all based off of the animatronics in that music park. And so basically, so the AI wants Bell to destroy it, and so Bell slices it, and the machine like is like remade or reborn, whatever. It's weird. So Adonis is cured of his madness, and he basically fades away. Yeah, and Bell kisses him before he fades away, and basically Bell like so she knows where she came from, like somewhat. And so all the zombies disappear, and basically the god tree, releases all these butterflies that heal everyone. So Sion is healed, and basically, and so like then Guinness basically says he will teach Bell the secrets of the sword, and basically, so the butterflies being were released as a result of the machine being destroyed. Miracles called moonwork, and so the fight between gas forces, gas forces, so basically everyone's at peace. Sion wakes up. Belle says she can't remember him, but Gaff told her who he was. Basically, says and she says her goodbyes to like everyone. So basically, so one of them, there's like this new sacred tree that sprouts. Belle cuts it down because everyone no longer wants to be slaves to a machine again. And so she's given this giant turtle mount by the underdogs. She's given a harp. That Sandy gives her a robe that belonged to Adonis. And basically, so everyone she meets, she basically kisses their cheeks. It's like everyone after her dawn, she basically kisses her cheeks. It's like okay, and so she tries to take the nomad test again, and she slices the piano, and the word nowhere that's printed on the piano, it shifts, so it now says now here. Then it plays this song. So the piano dissolves and basically enters everyone's shadow. So basically, the key of journeys is inside of everyone, so everyone can become a nomad. And then Belle meets with Sherry. Sherry says she wants to be a witchcraft. She wants to study. She wants to be a witch. And so yeah, they kiss each other on the cheek. I'm like, okay, this is very old. This is why is everyone saying goodbyes like this? It's a little weird because there's like okay, there's nothing romantic with this, is there? With any of this? Yeah. So basically, Belle leaves, and then she comes across a barrier and defeats and fights these race. The Phoenix Being explains that the is basically the what the that barriers is the boundary between nations, and the race are basically these dead people who attack anyone who try to leave the land. So Belle fight defeats the race and goes through the barrier to seek more adventures. And that's really it. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. So like so this all leads to it all leads somewhere. It's like the whole so it explains Belle's origins. So I mean all that's interesting. I mean it's a little weird. The ending does go on a little long. I was like, okay, it's a little long for an epilogue. I mean it's not Dragon Ball log epilogue. Dragon let's say that epilogue in Dragon Ball Z earned the phrase Dragon Ball. So it ain't Dragon Ball long, but this is a long epilogue. I was like, okay, I understand you have an episode to serve as an epilogue. A lot of anime have that. It's common. My Hero Academia is gonna have a long epilogue. But it's like, okay, actually want something to happen, none of this makes if you're gonna have an epilogue that's a full episode or multiple stuff, you want stuff to be happening. But it's like, okay. Like it just seemed like basically trying there was like a bunch of exposition these last two episodes. I was like, okay, try and explain this. I mean, I would have liked a little more about why humanity left Earth. I would have liked to see a little more. And, yeah. And see, I mean, it's definitely it's just like an interesting concept. So like this so the season's done, and actually the whole show's done. So like, as far as this season, this season's a definite improvement over season two, of season one over season one. So season two is an improvement. It's better. Still relatively mid, but it's better. It definitely has more interesting concepts because it's actually developing some of the lore. It reveals more about what God is, which basically was an AI. You know, so yeah, I mean, so Belle's origins, how her ties to God, and then like so basically everyone's like free from control of the A from everyone's free from the AI, and so basically now everyone like so basically Belle's off seeking more adventures. That's fine. You know, if there is, I mean, I don't know much about the source material. Like if this is how, like I'm assuming this is how those source material ends. To my, that'd be like, because I think it's only like, as far as the original novels, I think there was only two. And there was like a four novels, which I'm guessing it was just divided up. They just divided up the first two novels. Then you had the manga. So yeah, so my guess is that this show, it was decent. It was okay. I mean, it's not something worth. I mean, it's kind of forgettable. It's not one that's gonna be remembered. It's mid. It's very interesting. The concept is very interesting, but some of the execution's not there, especially in the first season. So it's you know can't necessarily care much about not too invested much in the characters. You know, so yeah, I mean, I would say it's a mid show. Fire Force season 3 episodes 9 and 10. So these ones, so Arthur goes into leads, his little party into the Nether to find the quote unquote Orichalcum, and he ends up coming across his parents who abandoned him as a kid, saying they were on a journey to save the world. And he said, "Oh yeah, yeah, we could take and then, but while they're in the Nether, it's real. They had kids while in the Nether." So I was like, "Wait, so you just abandoned Arthur?" So they go up, and they find like this very powerful metal object. And so basically, you know, what happens is that that quote becomes the quote or a callum. Yeah, it's based so it comes from like a missile, like it was like a missile warhead or something, and basically so it's like it's very powerful. So like it's melted down, the quote or callum is melted down and put into the mold and becomes the new Excalibur. Yeah, that probably will. I've read most of them. Only there's like a few chapters near the end I haven't read yet. For the very end. So if I'm correct, I believe this is the sword that this is the Excalibur that appears in Soul Eater. Always becomes the one, so the one that sings Excalibur, Excalibur, Excalibur. You know that really long Excalibur song that got really annoying really quick. But then, Arthur's parents they send him as saying he's going they have to go in their dream. Basically they abandoned him again. Arthur's abandoned by his parents. Like again, that yeah. Oh, that dude was really messed up. Now, there was a reason he's messed up actually. Like that I'm not gonna get into because it'll be explained later this season. I don't know if it's this core, the next core, but so then, Sho has an adult link with Shinra, so he tries to leave to find. He wants to try to find Shinra, but everyone's gathering because the Great Cataclysm's about to start. So there's like a final mass before, and then basically, so Sho's Guardian tries to basically agrees to help him, and that's gonna lead to some of the stuff, some weird backstory stuff involving Shinra and Sho. Like there's some weird backstory about to get dropped. And then basically and so after Squad A gathers, so Obi had met with some of Squad Eight's allies and basically their allies are willing to help them out. Like see basically when the time comes they will have help. And so basically and then Sumir sister Sumir does her vibration power to basically start the Great Cataclysm right as the mole guy, the mole, I can't remember his name, but the talking mole from China explains some stuff. So yeah, there's a lot. So oh yeah, one of the things Arthur's father, I guess he has some like basically foresight power, like he can see the future or something, and so he's able to see how the Great Cataclysm is coming. So yeah, you know, but yeah, I really like and yeah, there's a funny bit with so Iris, who is it's like when, so Iris is there, and then so Iris randomly starts saying who should get paired with so Hibana obviously is into Shinra, and then Iris says that she thinks an older man would be better for for Hibana than a younger one, so she's like, what about Opie? And then everyone's arguing, it's then she's like, that's what about the lieutenant? And then she's saying, no, I think Tamaki would be better for Shinra. And then Shinra, Tamaki, like, what? And yes, and Maki's kind of nervous whenever Iris said the lieutenant would be better for Hibana. And everyone's like, wait, why are you nervous? Why are you nervous? It's just funny. And then, then Shinra's I'd rather be with someone sister, like the sister, Iris. And then Iris is like, I like you very much too. And also, I guess she's not noticing it. Basically, like the engineers are like, the sister Iris is just smiling while there's all this chaos, and there's just like the innocent ones are are probably the scariest. It's like I don't know how if Iris is like Iris is very innocent. She is very innocent. So like I don't think she gets how much chaos she was causing. But it was funny. And it's you have a bunch of funny moments right before crap happens. That's common in anime. You always have some funny moments right before big action happens. And yeah, the Great Cataclysm is basically about to start. Like it's going down, starting next week. It looks like. So yeah, I really like these two episodes. Looking forward to next week's. Teogonia episodes 8 and 9. So in these episodes, like Kai basically, defeats all those like monsters, kills the priest guy, who had stabbed him. Then, he tries to get back to the village. There's like all that chaos in the village, so that advisor guy kidnaps Elsa, so Kai's friend, and and leaves the village while there's a whole battle going on. And so Kai gets then after all that, so and Jose like who basically is not allowed to help and she like and was like passed out for a little. She wakes up and she helps fight off the invaders. So Kai gets back and learns that Elsa was kidnapped and goes to find he kills the inspector, takes his godstone out, tries to give it, and so basically, no, so the horses ran off. Elsa was injured because basically what happened was the inspector, so there's a reason he tried to kidnap her. He basically, he had he wanted her to be a specific kind of a servant. And basically, he wanted her to be his concubine. So he tries to have his way with her. She resists. Tries to pull out like a sword to kill her or stab her. And so Kai appears, and you know, basically the horses run off. So the inspector falls out, and like Elsa's injured, and so Kai kills the inspector, takes out his gossip, feeds it to Elsa, but something happens to her. He takes her to the nomads who explain in the old nomad, like the leader explains that basically since the inspector was a human, there are problems with so if someone drinks from a godstone from someone that's the same species as you, basically there are problems. Unless precautions are taken, since precautions weren't taken, there's a chance Elsa could die because she ate a human's godstone instead of a godstone from another species. And so basically like, and then so they try to figure out so then the nomads are trying to figure out how to help her. And then all the orgs they come out and then some of them appear and they like bow to Kai saying basically I guess that whatever the godstone he had is for like their god. So they want him to come to their village. Well their fiefdom. Yeah. Basically yeah, and that's gonna lead to I guess some stuff with the orcs. And so yeah, it is weird how they haven't found out he's a guardian bear. Like he claims he painted on like some of the other villagers they paint the like they put some paint on themselves to make it look like they're guardian bears to help scare the orcs. Yeah, and it actually works. And Kai, who he has the strength to back it up. Of course, he didn't need paint. He just told everyone he had paint because now they're all probably some point gonna find out he's a guardian bear. given given like the amount of power he has. And yeah, so we'll probably see more about the orcs, probably some of their culture, how they live, maybe get some of the interesting what happens. So yeah, I really liked these two episodes. It was cool to see all the combat. They're developed, trying to reveal some stuff about the Godstone Kai has, the sort of god that whose power he has. I'm interested in all that. Looks like we'll get more of that next week. So yeah, I really liked these two episodes. Looking forward to next week's. The Last Rodeo. So this is an Angel Studios movie starring Neil McDonough. So, so basically, this one, Neil McDonough's character, Joe Wainwright, is a retired bull rider. So the reason he retires is because after his wife passed away from a brain tumor, basically he got drunk and decided to ride a bull while drunk, and basically that gave him like a very bad injury. His daughter Sally had to take care of him. He couldn't ride again. So in the present time, Joe like teaches people how to ride bulls, including his grandson Cody, who also plays baseball. And so Joe like is kind of somewhat estranged from his daughter Sally. Like he's still in the picture, they still talk, but it's a little tense talking. But he's on very good terms with Cody. And so what they happen, so Cody like during the baseball game like hits a foul ball and it hits him behind his ear. Like it is a freak, like it is like a freak thing. He's down a little bit, but he gets up. But then later he shows some like he vomits, has some dizziness. They first think it's just a symptom, just for concussion. But when they take him to the urgent care, they told him go to the hospital get an MRI. Answer revealed he has a brain tumor, and very similar to the one like that Joe's wife had. And so Joe like blames God for that, and so they can't afford it. So Joe's idea to make up the money is to compete in the Legends like bull riding tournament to use the prize money to pay for the surgery. So he gets his old friend Charlie Williams, who he had not seen in years, basically since he buried his wife. So instead of holding like a regular funeral, Joe and wanted to bury his wife himself. So he and Charlie dug the grave, buried her, and that was like the last time Joe had talked to Charlie because every time he saw Charlie, it reminded him of his dead wife. So like he and Charlie, they talk things out, and then Charlie helps him like prepare. So they prepare for the tournament. So they drive to Tulsa to meet with Jimmy Mack, played by Christopher McDonald. Famously plays Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore. And so they have to talk to him because Joe threw away the entry form for retired veterans to compete in the Legends tournament. So they talk to him, convince him, and it becomes it is a big clip because he basically Joe's like a three-time champion. So like basically past champions can do it. And Charlie is like the bullfighter who basically acts as kind of like a spotter, I guess. And so you have some of the other like competitors and the younger ones who are surprised to see definitely an older competitor who has some injuries. So Billy Hamilton acts a little cocky, at times, and then basically, so he does well. So he does the goes through the first two rounds, and then he does impress people. Like it's not like he's at his prime. So like when he has like the mask on, to like I guess it's safer to have the helmet on. He gets like a good for someone his age, but low for him. But he still qualifies. But once he just wears the cowboy hat, he doesn't. He's basically like screw the. So in the second round, he gets a re-ride because basically the bull slammed to the wall, and that got him a re-ride. So he did very well enough to get himself in first place for a period of time, and then so before the third round, basically like he's at a bar, and part of the I guess he had a reputation for getting drunk, getting the fights during his career. So he's basically egged on by some of the younger ones, and basically he gets into a bar fight. And so Jimmy tells him that they probably, but Charlie didn't explain to Jimmy why they're there. It's to raise money for for Cody. So Jimmy lends them, and so there's this with the second surgery, so that adds more money to it. Basically, they due to where it's at, it was if they need a second surgery to get rid of the tumor. And so Joe goes back briefly. Joe and Charlie go back briefly with Jimmy's private plane to Texas to see Cody before riding. And so Joe and Sally they hash things out. They make up, and then because Sally did not want Joe to ride, but she eventually you know relented. They work things out. So then, and basically, so Jimmy sets up a GoFundMe for Cody, and basically makes it public to help because because he wants to help Joe. He's initially not very happy about all that information being public because he wanted to keep it private, and he didn't want to take strangers' money. So, and then basically everyone at the thing talks about Billy apologizes. He's basically, hey, look, if I knew what was going on, I wanted to basically say I wanted to be a prick to you. But but don't expect me to uh not uh not giving my all out there. And basically, Joe apologized for how he acted. He's like, well, no, you good luck, because I'm gonna beat your butt. And they basically it becomes friendly trash talking. And so Joe, like during the fight, he basically volunteers to have the toughest bull called Ring of Fire, who is undefeated. No one ever made it to 8 seconds. So basically, Billy does his thing. He gets in first place. So Joe needs he needs a number to there's a certain number he needs to get to win. And so, but before he goes up, everyone holds a moment of silence for Cody, and then he competes. And basically, by this point, Joe has worked out his faith issues. So he has a cross with him. But he doesn't. He makes it the full 8 seconds. Fire, the first person to ever do it. And so, but he gets knocked up. He's basically he's knocked down hard right very shortly after the 8 seconds are and so everyone's surrounding him, and he sees this he sees his dead wife, and he's like he did it. And so he gets up, and there's a time jump 6 months later to reveal that Joe got second place and Billy won. But everyone had donated to the GoFundMe, so the whole surgery was already funded even without the prize money. The whole surgery was funded, then what was left over went to other treatments for kids with the same kind of tumor. And so, Cody's made a complete recovery. He's still playing baseball. And, basically he's fine. And so yeah. And so, Billy does an interview where it's revealed that they all paid for donate to GoFundMe. And he's like, yeah, I'd be interested to play Joe again. You're interested to he can keep second place, interested to lose. I would look forward to beating him again. It's a friendly little translating. Joe smiles at it. And yeah, and that's it. I thought this was a good movie. I thought it was good. It's not Angel Studios' best movie. It's not at the level, Sound of Freedom, Bonhoeffer, and but I would say this was a good movie. Dylan McDonough is a good actor. I mean, he plays very similar characters, very there's a ton, there's a lot of Neil McDonough is a good actor. A lot of his characters are very similar. So you have some characters who act even when they're pissed off, even when they're sad. it still sounds like hopeful the way like when he played Damien Dark and Arrow, when he played Buck Compton and Band of Brothers. Even when crap was going down, the tone of the voice just sounded like cheerful, even when the guy's just damaged. And Neil Jones' character is damaged, but he plays very hopeful characters just due to how he. I think it's just how he talks. Neil McDonough talks. But yeah, I really enjoy this movie. It's a faith-based movie. Well, to an extent. I mean, there's some foul language that would make this not a faith-based movie, in my opinion. You should not have foul language in a faith-based movie. You should not have cuss words. That is just a fact. So I would be very hesitant to call this a faith-based movie due to that reason. Yeah. But yeah, I still think it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. And yeah, Predator, Killer, Killers. So there's kind of like four segments to this. So it starts off kind of like, like an Animatrix type thing. So, first section, it's in Viking era Scandinavia. You have this Norse warrior named Ursa. She, her son Anders, and the rest of their clan. They're trying to kill the Krivich tribe, who's led by Zoran. Zoran, who killed Ursa's father, Einar. So they find Zoran, kill, and Zoran mocks Ursa, about Einar's death, and how Ursa was afraid of him. And Anders kills Zoran. Then after that, a predator attacks the Vikings, killing like all of Ursa's men. And Anders is injured when a building falls on top of him. Ursa kills the predator, and Anders dies in Ursa's arms. And Ursa's then captured by the predators. So then, in feudal Japan, you have two brothers, Kenji and Kiyoshi. You know, basically so Kenji runs away because he doesn't want to fight his brother for the right to be the successor of their father, who is a warlord. But he does return years later after his father dies, and basically he confronts his brother. He beats Kiyoshi, but spares his life. But Kiyoshi falls off a balcony after railing, like basically gives way, and he seemingly dies. And Kenji's not happy about Kiyoshi being allegedly dead. So and Kenji is ambushed by a predator who kills all the guards and basically chases him. And then he finds Kiyoshi still alive, so Kiyoshi and Kenji battle the predator. They team up and kill the predator, then Kiyoshi dies of his wounds, and Kenji's then captured by a predator. And then during World War II, there's a car mechanic named Torres. He's drafted to the U.S. Navy. He was a fighter pilot, and they're in bow in the Atlantic. While they're out in the Atlantic Ocean, his squadron, they're trying to find this aircraft that they don't know. They don't basically annihilate it by itself, annihilate this whole other unit. And basically, Torres, who's like grounded, like basically he's not allowed to fly. He learns that this aircraft is armed with very advanced weapons, and so he takes this like very bad like rundown plane to warn like the everyone about about this craft. And so the Predator spacecraft arrives, kills everyone in Torres' squad. Torres like outmaneuvers the ship, and basically he basically tricks the spacecraft into destroying itself with its own weapons. And after his tour is done, and Torres returns home to fix cars, but he's abducted by a predator. So basically, everyone awakes. So basically, so Ursa, Kenji, and Torres are all in suspended animation. So that's why Ursa and Kenji were alive for like centuries because they're in suspended animation. And I don't necessarily know how long it had been since Torres had been there, but like basically they're all brought into this arena, and this Predator warlord tells them to fight to the death, and the survivor, whoever wins, will fight the warlord. You know, in the but and so basically initially so Ursa and Kenji initially they start trying to fight her with Torres, eventually convinces them to basically work with him so they can all escape. But then the warlord releases this monster and Torres is swallowed. And, Ursa and Kenji kill and Torres is able to escape by using some hover bike he finds in it. And the three of them they go to a prayer ship. They bow they bow the warlord, and then basically they start using. So then once they're trying to escape, the harpoon like basically prevents it from escaping. So Ursa, lets herself get captured when she deals with the harpoon, allowing the other two to escape. And so the warlord orders for Torres and Kenji to be hunted. Then Ursa's put in suspended animation near around where other captives are, including Naru from you know from Prey, the last movie, which sucked. Like Prey sucked. Now this was a good freaking movie. Like this was a really good Predator movie. Now the animation completely terrible. It's the same style used for like Arcane, you know, kind of similar style you see for Arcane, Blue Eyed Samurai. I don't like that animation. I don't. It sucks. I don't know why people use it. It's freaking terrible. It is awful animation. Like this in 2D, this would have looked freaking amazing. This would have looked freaking incredible. Like 2D or better 3D. But yeah, this was a really good Predator movie. Now, as far as story, this was fantastic. This was a pretty good Predator movie. I like the whole anthology thing. Predators, it's an anthology franchise. You have like, even if there's times where it looks like they're gonna do like a whole multi-movie arc thing, they basically have never been able to see through to it because where it's money reasons, critical reception reasons, they've not been able to do that. They've never have. Not with Predators. So not with the second, not with Predators, not with the Predator. Predators, they would have had more success with that because that was a good movie. That was a way better movie than the Predator. And closest thing they got to that was like AVP, Alien versus Predator, but those were freaking terrible. And that was with different humans in each movie. Like Predator 2, they could have done it, but generally it's Predator is very anthology. It's a very anthology franchise, so that can work. Like you could do an anthology Predator movie, and they kind of did. So first three parts is anthology, then fourth part basically is like bringing those three together. And yeah, I really like this. I mean like like it was cool how they introduced the characters and then have them fight the Predators at the end. I enjoyed it. Like I would argue this at the time of recording this might be the best Predator movie. Like I would say this is the best Predator movie. Like, and I was not expecting it. I mean, the animation sucked. That is my only major complaint. But this was a really good Predator movie. So yeah, it was fantastic. This was a good Predator movie. Well, that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.